Now, your 2014 is gonna suck. Now, I got this email from a friend of mine, and when you first read it, you think, well, that's all negative. But the thing is, there's two things that motivate us. It's either pain or pleasure. And if you point out the bleeding obvious, let's have a look at why your 2014 is gonna suck. And the positive thing is, you can prove me wrong. So let's have a look at his email. He's saying for all those people that constantly post ridiculous positive messages on Facebook about the new year, 2014 is going to suck raw ass for you. So excuse the language, but this is the way this guy writes. So anyway, here we go. Yep, you read that right. It's going to be a disaster. Why do I say that? Here's why. You don't have it. You don't have that DNA. You've never hustled. You don't grow up with all the right opportunities. You think growing up with the opportunities matters. You don't know how to take currently available opportunities. You complain a lot. You don't see the big picture. You might have a map, but you're really bad with directions. You expect hand-holding. If only someone would show me how. You think you're entitled to rewards. You place blame on others instead of taking control and figuring out what went wrong. You half-ass projects and say they're failures. That's such a big one. And this is speaking directly to me, and I believe it'd be speaking to a lot of us who are in this internet marketing space or wanting to create, ultimate freedom for our lives and take control of our lives. Now, you really, if at all, launch projects in the first place. Now, a lot of people who are actually on, looking to create an income from the internet, most people who are searching out advanced strategies, I know Frank Kern said, a good 90% of the people are looking for advanced strategies haven't even got a website, so that kind of tells you they've never even launched something in the first place, or half-assed something, half-built. You don't seek specified knowledge. You're trying to try everything like Facebook and Twitter and SEO and Google AdWords. There's so many different avenues you can go, so you're never going to be able to move forward on any because it's just learning new systems, overwhelm, never trying anything out, half-assing projects and never launching anything, and it's a really vicious cycle. You buy a lot of information, courses, webinars, seminars, conferences, and let it all go in one ear and out the other. Now, let's face it. When you really change your mindset, I was listening to Jim Rohn the other day, and the title of the audio was "The Day That It All Turned Around," something like that. And I was listening to it, and I'd heard things I'd never ever heard before. Now I'd listened to it a lot of times, and I could play you a short track. Actually, it's really good. I'll do that in a future post. And it spoke directly to me because everything in my life literally did change around in a moment. And he says that, as animals, you've got this pre-programmed thing, like every certain season of the year you'll fly south. You don't fly west or east, you fly south. You just do that. You're on this programmed thing, how you migrate and how you travel. And human beings are so different because we can actually choose a different path just like that. We can decide to do that or we can decide to do that, and everything will change from that point. So you can literally change your life in an instant. So it's going to be a great audio. I can play a clip of that for you. Continue buying all these courses. Hands up, I've done it. I've got hard drives full of stuff, probably 100 grand's worth of information on my hard drives. You got $2,000 coaching programs, here and there. So that adds up very, very quickly. And you kind of look at what you've bought and where you are right now. And if a lot of those products don't equal where you want to be, what's wrong? Because they are great systems, I can imagine themselves, because other people have followed them. And yeah, there are some crappy products out there or crap systems, or maybe you've got certain constraints. I've mentioned that before, how I was on a coaching program and I had a lot of constraints. So I'm not a good project manager, and I'm not good at picking up the phone and doing sales. Got fired from a couple of jobs because of that. And I've learnt my lessons and then chose a system that didn't rely on me picking up the phone. Actually, others pick up the phone for me and do the sales for me. So that is a huge constraint that's been removed. And I'm not reliant on others for my cash flow. I do obviously need customers, but I had another model where I was reliant on business owners to provide me information. And when they're too busy, they never got that information to me, so I couldn't move their projects forward or complete them, and that meant I don't get paid. So, you've got to look at the right business model for you. You haven't learned the very basics of doing work online. So, like I said, a lot of people are seeking advanced strategies, and, it's putting the cart before the horse, and I've mentioned that before. You think I'm not techie is a good excuse. Now, there's always going to be challenges. It takes a long time. I remember the first time I put up a website, it was so difficult because you put the website up and then it's like, oh, but no, I need this, and oh, an opt-in form, and oh, but if the opt-in form, I need to send some emails. Okay, got to learn to write the emails now. But then they want to download a report. Oh, I need a download page. Oh, now I need a PDF and got to create a PDF. Oh, now I need a PDF image. So you got to create, cover ebook cover, and it continues and continues, and it can be very overwhelming at first. But the thing is, it's one of the best skills you can ever learn about how to do a marketing system and deliver that content. And I've mentioned it before as well, is that there are skills you can focus on. There's some that every new skill is going to be difficult to learn. There's going to be a degree of that. But some are going to pay you a lot more than others and are worth pursuing. But you have to be strategic and think about the end game plan. Where do you want to be? What is your lifestyle going to be like? How many hours per day do you want to work in that lifestyle? And is there any leverage and scalability in that lifestyle? Or are you going to build something that one day when you decide maybe to sell a business, it's actually worth nothing because it's not scalable, hasn't built any goodwill, hasn't got any good lists to market to, you don't have a buying audience. There's a number of things that you have to weigh up. There's certain skills you need to master. And one of those skills is connecting with people, either through video and importantly through email. So you might see some scammy, spammy headlines saying email is dead or whatever it may be. But you're probably reading this now because I may have sent you an email, and the email medium is fantastic. A lot of people checking their email; they're addicted to checking their email. Now, you don't enjoy producing content, so you got to produce content. You got to have some value out there and be willing to help people. You never study classic marketing or sales literature. Now, there's a lot of classic marketing books out. Ogilvy on advertising. It was a really brilliant book. Claude Hopkins. Got a lot of these guys who. These books are very, very old, and they've got a lot of the fundamental principles there, and all the new copywriting processes and that have been based on a lot of these books. And you've got never written an advertisement before, so you haven't tested anything, you just bought products and never actually spent money on any traffic at all. You've never made a sales call, yet you expect to make thousands of dollars overnight. You waste a lot of time on things that don't matter, and then whine that you don't have enough time to do the things that you do. And everyone's guilty of that. You really have to be super focused. And if you've got any ADD tendencies at all, I used to think I did. And I think that was a kind of excuse because I heard people like Joe Polish or Dean Jackson and all these other people saying, oh, I've got this ADD, do all these different ideas. And the truth is that when you don't know your end goal, every path will take you there. So every single email or opportunity, you'll think, oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's a great way. I'll do SEO, or I'll do paid advertising, or I'll do that. It's every path will take you. And no wonder you get so confused and frustrated and never move things ahead and never know what to focus on. Because if you're going to focus on the next step, if you're looking at, 2, 3, 4, 5 different models of doing things, if you take one step out, you've got big branch of steps that actually lead into other steps. So you can imagine it just pops open and expands. And how are you going to focus on all these things when if you've got just one? And on my blog post down here, you'll see the black dot technique there for focusing. And if you've got one item to focus on, you eliminate all those other distractions, and then you just take the next step. You find someone that can help you take that next step. You're going to achieve a lot more than diffusing all your energy and trying to focus on all these different things. You spend your free time thinking about doing something, okay? So that's about the not doing. You tell everyone who will listen what you're going to do, okay? So you're always bragging and, I'm going to do this and that, and never do it, okay? And you never do anything. There we go. So this is from Matt. So he says, if you hate me now, it's because some of this was true, or maybe all of it. So why not change it and make 2014 and every year after that great? Okay, so he's selling a very high-end coaching program there, and it is for people who are serious and actually have a business and have a list. Need quite a few thousand on their list, and he shows you how to get more money from that list. But the thing is, the essence of this email. So if any of these points really pissed you off, you can they are hitting home. And like me, when I first read it, I kind of thought, what, but it really makes sense because this is where I used to be. And you can see if you add all these things up equals failure, right? And you just take any one thing on here. If you just have one of these bad habits, if you don't have the right system, you don't have the right vehicle, you don't have the right fuel, how are you ever going to gain that belief to actually move forward or understand what the next step is. So you have to make a decision. You have to decide now. You have to decide to do things completely different if you've never achieved success. And I've got a free report that I've actually written. You can see that on my blog, so you can opt into that. And I tell you my exact criteria for choosing the right system and how I chose the system that I'm using right now. And also tell you a bit about my story and have some inspirational stuff in there and some great videos about success. So you really start narrowing this down and understanding what needs to change. So in a future post here, I'm going to talk about Jim Rohn because there's some really cool things in that. And the thing is, doing things opposite. I used to feed myself with information all the time, continually plugged in to the old iPod over there, and I hardly ever use it anymore. I hardly have anything on it. It used to just be jam-packed. It's 120 gigs of stuff, and that's just so overwhelming. You want to eliminate the choices. Eliminate all those choices is really important. And just choose one thing to listen to. Because I used to listen to a whole complete Tony Robbins program, just say, for example, I think there's one on influence and persuasion. And, you go through the whole program and learn nothing and move on. So now my approach is just listen to a little bit, take some notes, and actually apply that before learning any more stuff. So maybe you listen to 10 or 15 minutes, and I know that you're always hungry to listen to more, but if that's never served you or got you any results in the past, you have to change that. And I was listening to Frank Kern the other day, who's a great master, and I've listened to a lot of his stuff before and never taken action on that. So what I do now is just take one simple module that I have of his and just follow that, apply it. He's teaching about the emails, how to write the emails, how to send the videos, how to set up the whole process. And I only need one part of that. And a lot of his students have success from just implementing 10% of the whole picture. So the idea is not to get it perfect, it's to get something out there and to take those little steps forward. And don't be scared to try things out. And that's why Facebook is such a great medium, because it's so cheap to advertise and get targeted people and test things out. And if you didn't know, I've got a little tool that I can give you for free. So if you check out some of my videos, I've got some information there, how I'm giving away a $100 tool to help you get super targeted leads on Facebook. Okay, so I'm going to end this now, and I'll speak to you soon.